luck with that, and I hope that goes okay. The other thing that people have been saying all afternoon on the country hour text line too is just the state of the roads and how they're holding up in the wet, and it doesn't sound too good. Are you dodging a lot of potholes on your drive?
G'day, welcome to Sumo's Projects, and welcome to a video this time about floods in my hometown. As you can see, there's a lot of water here. All this water, it goes for probably a few kilometres at the back of me, is not supposed to. It's supposed to be only a little crossing. So it's reached a maximum of 12 metres, and it is at the moment receding. So hopefully, touch wood, but we've got more rain forecast. And I'll just show you around some of the footage of interesting things that happen when you do have this type of weather event. So this is exceeded the 1974 floods in this area, and upstream of here it's a lot worse because there's a lot more people living, and it's a little bit lower lying area. So let's have a look at the footage, and yeah, fingers crossed not too many people get inundated. This is the first time in my life I've actually felt a little bit stranded. The river systems have peaked and they've cut off roads, and you've seen some of the footage and of the state of the roads. The roads are pretty much the main arterials. I think the Hume Highway up Melbourne, Sydney's all right, but all the affected communities seem to have a issue of massive potholes, roads being washed away, and it makes it a little bit tricky to get around. So I'm still at home. I'm doing what I can to help out in my community, my township, and whilst today is 25 degrees, beautiful day, we have the potential of another 100 millimetres of rain coming. So the big issue there is we don't want it to fall in our catchment areas. So Ralph, what's the whole experience been like for you, mate?
Pretty big, pretty daunting.
How do you see how the communities come together to help each other out?
The community did really well. They all come together, all helped. They all got in there to go.
Beautiful. And is this the biggest flood event or any big natural disaster you've ever seen?
I've seen floods in 74, 93. I've seen a few.
Yep. So recovery mode, do you reckon town will bounce back?
Definitely.
Yeah, that's good. No worries. So fingers crossed, this is a 1 in a 100 year event. It's not something that you want to encounter too often. Townships such as Shepparton, Mooroopna, all the towns up along heading up to Echuca. Echuca's going to cop a really bad flooding event there, and really feel for them. Have family up there, so yeah. Look, you can't defy Mother Nature. So here we are with the local supermarket proprietor. How are you?
Good, thank you.
How's the effects of the flood played out here?
We were very concerned about the risk of the levee bank bursting on Saturday, and we so appreciate all the community effort that the whole town, I'm sure, were involved in helping build our sandbag walls to protect the buildings.
Yeah.
And so I was very grateful and appreciative of all of that, everybody's efforts. So
yep.
I'd take the opportunity to thank everyone very much for that. People came from nowhere. We didn't have to ask anyone. Just people, just came from everywhere to help. So it was wonderful, and it was difficult while the power was out.
Yep.
Now the power's back on, and we're able to slowly restock
yep.
and keep going. Limited hours for a short period. And,
yep.
But we'll gradually get all our stock levels back together.
Wonderful.
So basic groceries are fine, smokes are fine. We've got plenty of stock. Milk, we've got fresh supplies of milk in this morning, and that will be ongoing.
Yep.
Cold drinks aren't affected, so refrigeration is all back up and running.
Yep. All the necessities to accommodate having a beer.
That's right, exactly. And our grocery supermarket wasn't affected at all, so there's a range of grocery items which we'll be restocking next week. With toilet paper and tissues, we've got plenty, biscuits, tinned items, coffee, soft drinks over here.
Yep.
Veggies will be restocked tomorrow. So.
Terrific. And it's in these times people depend on, that you have got things in stock. So
Yes.
It's a wonderful effort, and I think the whole town and community owe you a lot of gratitude and thank you for your, what you're doing. So.
Thank you too, and we've always felt, we've been here 35 years in business, and we've always looked at it as being a community service to the, we help you and you help us. So it's, we need you as much as, much as you need us, and we're very pleased to be able to provide the service that we do, and we'll continue to do that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Whilst a lot of loss is encountered at these times, it's also a time to reflect on how a community can come together and just do their best to mitigate these circumstances from ever happening in the future. One of the most overwhelming aspects of this whole crisis was that people didn't leave. They stayed, they stood to defend their assets and the community assets in general. So very proud to be part of a small community, and I think it's imperative that community spirit rises to the top every time there is a crisis. We all hope that governments now look and take the ever-changing landscape a bit more seriously and invest some more spending into infrastructure builds which can, perhaps better defend in times where there are floods and fires, and maximising the potential of being safe in the environments that we live in. I know it's up to people to make decisions upon themselves as well, but it's a two-way street. So, yes, looking forward to seeing what happens. I, like most other people, would probably complain about the amount of rates and levies we do pay in our bills, but when times are rough and the chips are down, you do see where that money is reinvested back into the community to get electricity, sewage and water back up and running. As we look around, the Great Wall of Sandbags, which has been something that people are, I suppose, confident to have to help out a little bit. But if you look up here, the levee banks here are not too bad. They've sort of saved our bacon a little bit, but it's something that can be addressed in the future with, a little bit of town planning, redesigning things, that we can raise these even higher. So it will hopefully alleviate the what's happened here, because the road was starting to bubble, and if anything ever gives way from the river system, that would wipe out a whole township. So just councils and town planners, keep that in mind when don't just look at the big towns, look at the little ones as well. Cheese. Cheese, yes. So we're here with a very active community member involved with many committees. Juliet, how have you seen the events that have just passed us by and the ongoing concerns ahead?
Look, it's been devastating for a lot of rural communities that have been so heavily impacted by the effects of COVID and isolation from that, particularly for our community where we've always been very close-knit. I have noticed in the past 2 years that we're not as connected as we used to be. So it's been amazing in these past few days, even though the devastating effects that Mother Nature has provided us with, that challenge, everyone has just got together. People who haven't been socially interacted before are now, and making new connections and helping everyone out. Just people who've moved here in the last few years who haven't been involved in social groups have said, I've met 10 new people, they just came to my house and helped me out, move furniture. So it's definitely, I think there's a change coming in our town where people will be more connected and willing to lend a hand and be involved. And it's great to see. It's something to be very proud of for each community member.
So it's a community binding tragedy in some regards, but it can have positives.
There may be a silver lining,
yeah,
which is this. But yeah, of course our hearts go out to each and every one of those families that have suffered loss through the floods, and there are plenty of committees and local services that are ready and willing to give a hand. So contact your local neighbourhood house.
Yep.
They are very active at the moment, and they have some government representatives there that can also help with flood affected families who need some compensation. And
that goes on in the future for any other events?
It will be going on for quite some time, yes.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thanks everyone of Murchison for coming together and helping.
Water subsides, but there's always the constant threat of extra water falling upon our catchment areas. Fingers crossed it doesn't. Big thanks also to the local pharmacy for maintaining and keeping their doors open. It was fantastic, and people do really rely upon this resource for their medications. So we're here at the CFA. Would you kindly introduce yourself?
I'm Nathaniel Meyer, I'm the Murchison CFA captain. So throughout this exercise we've been assisting SES here in Murchison with protecting the town, I suppose. I suppose locally for us it would be, yeah, for our Murchison community it would be definitely be. We've spent a lot of time in past history assisting SES, I suppose, in the 2010s with America and Australia, so flooding's not really uncommon to us, but for our local community, yes, it definitely would be.
And as a community, how have you seen Murchison come together over this past week?
We put a few times we put the feelers out on Facebook to try and build some people where we were needing extra hands, and all of a sudden everybody in the woodwork's come out from town, and we had probably close to, I'd say, 500 people at one point sandbagging, either filling sandbags or putting them down the street with us. So I think it's brought out the good in everybody in the community and got everyone out and together and been involved on one task, I suppose, and that was to protect our town.
So I think a lot of gratitude and thanks to go towards the CFA here. And are you on a recruitment drive at the moment?
Always. We're always on a recruitment drive. The more hands we get, the less work everyone has to do. So that's, that's our motto, I suppose.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you, Nathan.